Oh, what's up, boys and girls? FGH coming to you live. Bo Steve is here. Had a pretty good day, pool party. Everybody over, had a good time. I just wanted to address a couple of things from this morning's radio show. So I'll just say this: I have been drinking since pretty much I got off the air this morning till now. Still drinking. So if some of this doesn't make sense, it makes sense, right? But a couple of things I wanted to address. Number one, and it's really all around the Vikings. So, got some feedback. I think maybe some misunderstandings about what was being said today about the Vikings. So, I got some feedback about Longhorn saying that McCarthy, could be great and this and that. And, you know, maybe they win 11 games, blah, blah, blah. And the feedback was, how could you say that? How could you say he's gonna be great? His rookie's never played. Blah 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 blah. So I want to clear this up right now. What Longhorn was saying was not that he thought that the kid was gonna be great. His point was their over under is 8.5. If you take the alt over of 9.5, I think you get it like plus 140 right now. So you get 40 cents to that. If you lay the under 8.5, it's minus 120. So laying 20 cents. So the difference is, a pretty good amount of vig there. And his point was if the kid can play at all, if he can play at all with this coach and with this roster, it's a 10-win roster, which I have no arguments with that at all. And that comes to the second point. It's like, well, how could y'all be so far apart on this team? Well, first of all, to that point, and to the person that asked that question, we're far apart on a lot of fucking teams all the fucking time. So that's part of what makes us as good as we are as handicappers is, we come about it two totally different ways. He does it from a talent perspective, roster building, coaches, you know, uh, he keeps very good tabs on how teams grow their teams, their salary cap situation, all of those things. I don't. I don't keep track of any of that shit because my whole thing is just all numbers, and all players are cogs in an equation. And as long as you're in a certain range of a player, you just fit in the equation no matter what, which most players are. Now, there's, the special quarterbacks, the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrows. Those are the guys that matter the most, and those guys that move the lines, and those are the guys that you have to skew everything because of them. Like, because of Joe Burrow, if it wasn't for Joe Burrow, Cincinnati in my projections would be a 6-win team. They would be a 6-win fucking team. But because of Joe Burrow in my projections, they're right at like 9.5. So they're a 9 and 10 win team because of that dude. He's worth 4 wins, just over his average replacement, because he's that fucking good. You think, oh well, that's not a lot. 4 wins. That's a fucking lot. That's a fucking lot. Never fucking forget. I mean, if you watch the Dallas Cowboys at all, Cooper Rush won like fucking 6 games. Cooper Rush can't play. He's not a real fucking real NFL quarterback. He won 6 games. My God, Duck fucking Hodges. Duck Hodges. Whatever that is and whoever the fuck that is. He won games for Pittsburgh and got them a winning record for Mike Tomlin. So, yes, special quarterbacks move the lines. But back to the point. Longhorn was not saying, that he thought J.J. McCarthy was going to be a special quarterback. Now, he likes him more than me, no doubt about it. That wasn't what he was saying. What he was saying was He likes the over, and if he's going to take the over, he'll take the alt over because if everything goes right, that should be the way that goes. And I did not disagree with him at all. Now, I am going to probably take the under on them because I don't think JJ McCarthy is that dude. But I'm not going to be happy about taking the under because I saw what this coach could do with Sam fucking Darnold, who sucks my balls. Sucks. He's always sucked. He's never not sucked. Even last year with Minnesota, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great. His numbers were good, for sure. Production was good. I think he finished 13th in CPOE plus EPA. I think if I'm remembering right, 13th. That's the best he's ever finished by a million fucking miles. But again, that's all about the scheme and the coaching staff around him. All about that. So, what's he going to do in Seattle? Probably not well. But we'll see. But that does make me hesitant to really bet against this, JJ McCarthy thing in Minnesota. But just like I said on the radio show this morning, if I was, and that I think this is what the crux of the kind of comments we got. How could you be so far apart? It's not that we're so far apart. I think we both have the same opinion of the team. However, there's only two ways to bet this team. You either bet the alt over because everything's going to go right for McCarthy and those guys, or it's not going to go right and it's going to go the way it probably should go, and they're going to win 6 games. So you bet the alt under. So again, it's not that we're so far apart. We have the same opinion. It's just that one of us is leaning one way, the other is leaning the other way. But the smart bet is to not bet in the middle ground. It's to go extreme one way or the other. It's a smart bet. And I know that might seem counterintuitive or whatever, but it's really not. If you look through the history of betting over unders in futures totals, Vegas misses by more than 2 games. I think like 60% of the time. So betting the alt over or under is absolutely the best bet. Now it takes balls. It takes fucking balls to do that. It's not something that I do or that I put out very often because it's because I've gotten lazy. I've gotten very comfortable hitting 60% of my future bets. I like making money on them. I like making my clients money on them. So even if we have to lose some juice on, the 2 or 3 we lose every year, it's whatever. We're gonna hit the majority. I pretty much have that system nailed on what to bet and who to bet. So diving into doing that is a little bit beyond my comfort zone. Not for me personally, I'll do it personally, but to put it out to clients, it's a little bit beyond it. Again, because it's one of those things like I care so much about making people money. I like to do what I know fucking works. Gambles, kind of crazy stuff like that. I'll do that on my own. I might suggest it or whatever, put it out on a podcast, and you can do what you like with it. But as far as official picks, I like to officially fucking make money. So again, we went 6-3 last year on our season totals preseason. And again, that's pretty much par for the course. If you've been a client of ours, you know that. That's just what we do. It's a pretty steadfast formula we have, and basically what it comes down to is any team that we're gonna end up rating as a negative team. So in other words, like the way our power rankings work is, 0 is some power rankings work differently. Some other pros do it differently. The way I do it is 0 is average. That's your average team. And then anything above 0, obviously, is above average. Anything below 0, below average. Any team that I have preseason rated below average, I bet the under on. Because if I feel like you're going to be a below average team, that means you're going to be below Vegas's expectations, which means you should hit the under on your over/under win total. And again, that works out about 60% of the time. So it's been a very good, steady money making formula for us. I don't see a reason to change it. But I am very intrigued with the alt over under things that we've kind of, and this is kind of a new thing we've discovered the last couple of years. We've been toying with it. Longhorn and I've been kicking it around, betting it with our own money, not putting it out to clients, but just, you always have to test things before you put it up. You don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of fucking people that just put shit out. They don't give a fuck. They'll cost your money. They'll tell you to do this, tell you to do that. They don't give a shit because they're not really putting their own money on the shit. So they literally don't care. They'll just tell you to bet what the fuck ever. Now most of them have long blonde hair and big tits, and they're chicks, and they're just fucking touts for a sports book, and they get paid to do that. So they literally don't fucking care. That's not our game. That's not what we do. We literally bet everything we tell you to bet. We have our own personal money on every single thing, and that is not a lie. That's not hyperbole. It's not a sales pitch. That's just the truth, and that's I think why our appeal is what it is because we are so authentic on that. And when we do lose, we are upset, very upset, and we win, we are very happy. And that comes across on our Monday recap, our good, the bad, and the what, and are you fucking kidding me? Podcast that we do on Mondays, which has been a big hit since we started doing that. Because people want to feel that. People want to feel your joy. People want to feel that you feel the pain. And I think anybody that's been listening to our podcast, anybody that's ever listened to any of those recap podcasts, especially when we get to the Are You Fucking Kidding Me? You have to know that we are right there with you in the trenches when something fucking ridiculous happens. Like, I don't know, Cincinnati losing the first week last year to New England that knocked me out of the goddamn Survivor contest at Circa. I spent $1,000, $1,000, and I lost it in 60 minutes of real football time, game time. 60 minutes, $1,000, gone, gone. Not only that, here's the real bitch of that. That was like a gimme layup fucking of a game. Gimme layup, of course. New England was going to suck, which they did. Cincinnati should be good, which they were okay. But they were 8 or 9 point favorites at home. It was the biggest home favorite they're going to be the entire season. So, of course, that was the fucking play. Of course, that was the fucking play. And then, on top of that, though, the behind the scenes, the fact that I had mapped out all 18 fucking weeks. And when you play the Survivor at Circa, so Thanksgiving is 2 weeks. You have to pick one game on Thanksgiving Day and then another game for that, Saturday or Sunday or whatever. Christmas week is the same day. So you really have to be meticulous and plan out who you're going to pick, what teams you're saving, blah, 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 blah. Because it's really 20 weeks out of 8. So you had to pick 20 games out of 18 weeks. I'd done all the research, all that time, spent all that time planning my entire, I had every game, not only every game picked, but every game, and then the backup game in case something happened to the game, obviously an injury, whatever worst case scenario, what's my second pick for each week? So I had 40 picks lined up, 40 fucking picks lined up. I had done all the math and all the machinations, and I'd run every fucking possible scenario to get into, and I lose literally in the first fucking 60 minutes of the whole season. Oh, it was so fucking terrible. It was so terrible. I've hated Cincinnati and Joe Burrow ever since, and I hope they never win shit. I fucking hate their guts. I'll never not hate them for costing me $1,000 in week fucking 1. Oh my god, what a fucking bad beat. But again, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's real shit. That is real shit. That's what we do. Now, we had a great season last year. Not complaining. So I guess if I had to fucking lose $1,000 in 60 minutes to win the thousands of dollars that I won throughout the whole season, I guess I'll make that sacrifice. But god damn it, what a kick in the fucking nuts that was. But just a huge kick in the balls. But again, it's football, man. That's how shit goes. So, but I did want to clarify that for you guys, just real quick. It what it's not that we have that big a divide on Minnesota between Longhorn and I, and it's not that Longhorn was saying JJ McCarthy was going to be the next coming. I think everybody got that kind of misconstrued. What we were saying was the odds are better if you bet the alt over or alt under, because that's most likely the scenario in which their season plays out. Their season playing out for them to win 8 games and going under by half a game, or 9 games and going over by half a game, is not as likely as them winning 5 games or them winning 10 games. It's more likely that they win 5 games or 6 games or 10 games than them win to 8 to 9. Just given the strength of schedule, given the variables with the brand new quarterback, coming into the system, it's that's just the more likely thing. So that's, I guess, in summation, that's all we were really saying. I know it got a little bit convoluted because we ran out of time kind of talking about this, so I guess that's why we got the most pushback about that read, as far as that. And I think we got one question about Jordan Love, how we thought he was going to come back. I mean, I think he's going to come back just fine, as fine as he was, before. I don't think he was ever as good as he kind of got propped up to be there for a little while, but he's certainly a hell of a lot better than we thought he was going to be coming out. So I think he'll be fine. I think he's still, at this point, maybe tied with Goff, best quarterback in the division, maybe a little bit ahead, whatever. I think that Sugar Britches, with his new coach, has a chance to be the best quarterback in the division. I think that Chicago has a real chance to be the king of this division within 2 years. I really do believe that. If I'm right about Sugar Bridges. Now, Longhorn was not as high on him as I am, and I'm not usually that high on quarterbacks coming out, to be honest. But look, man, I know the kid's, he bats for the other team, but he has got some serious fucking talent, and I think that if this coach can get it out of him, good lord, I think the sky is the ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan would say, for Sugar Britches and that Chicago offense. So I think maybe 1 year kind of growing pains. I don't think they've got their backfield figured out just yet. Longhorn spoke about that today. They didn't really address that. He thought maybe because they liked what they kind of had in house, but he also threw out the theory that maybe it just didn't fall the right way. I think it's more that scenario. It just didn't quite fall the right way for him. And I think this coach is smart enough not to reach for players that he doesn't think absolutely will fit what he wants to do. And I think of all the coaches in the NFL today, that dude absolutely has an idea of exactly what he wants to do offensively and exactly what fits what he's trying to accomplish. So if he didn't select any of those guys and he's willing to roll in what they got, I would trust him with that. And, I think that maybe 2 years, Chicago is going to they're going to be that team. They really are. I'm hopeful for that anyway. I would like to see that. Um, you know, just it's a good town, good city, and great fans, great fan base, and it'd be nice to see the Bears be relevant again. It's been a long fucking time. It's been nice to see the Lions are fucking relevant. To be honest with you, like just to see them be relevant is like, holy shit, that's awesome. The Lions are fucking relevant. and I think that they will be for another year or so. Again, we'll see what Dan Campbell can do with these new assistants, and can they prop up Jared Goff to, continue to be what he's been. I think Longhorn's concern about their offensive line is legitimate. I think that's extremely legitimate because Jared Goff absolutely does need that. He's not that dude that can throw off platform. He's not that special arm quarterback. He's not special at all. He's just good if he's in the system, playing in the system. We've seen that with Sean McVay. We've seen it now under the guy from Detroit. So without that, we've also seen it too. So it ain't great. Anyway, so I just want to clarify that with everybody. So the Minnesota thing, we're not that far apart, Longhorn and I, on the team, but I'm leaning to the under. He's leaning to the over, but we both agree it's gonna go extreme one way or the other. We both agree with that. Neither one of us believe that they're an 8 or 9 win team, as their over under would project at 8.5. We both believe they're gonna win 6 games or they're gonna win 10 games. So we're both on board with that. Anyway, that's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you later.